I welcome you guys back to my next tour. Alright, I welcome you guys back into my next course over here, which is my story today. Whereas my story has a nice, beautiful progress over here. So when I talk about my story, I talk about everything about my life, and my story today is really, I had a hard lifestyle today. I realized that today is much easier than yesterday. I realized I'm much more effective today than I ever was, although my lifestyle before was terrible. I had a terrible lifestyle before. I was on the drugs before. I used to smoke weed. I used to do cocaine. I used to do the meth too. I used to be a junkie. I used to drink alcohol. I promise you I was a drug addict. I was a drug addict because I was drinking alcohol. I was a drunk addict. I was a drunk person before. I was very drunk. I was very much of a drug addict because I was drinking alcohol. I'm not a drug addict now, although you understand I was very much a drug addict because I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I understand alcohol is a drug and it makes you a drug addict. When you smoke cigarettes, you're a drug addict. When you drink caffeine, you're a drug addict. When I quit caffeine, I quit cigarettes, I quit the meat, I quit the weed, I quit all the legal drugs. I quit all the legal drugs too. I quit cocoa powder too. I quit cocoa powder. I made sure to start improving myself. I started to improve my reading habits. I started to improve my life every single day. I used to be a music producer. I'm still a music producer. I'm still a person who I'm still a music lover. I still love to improve my life. I still love to improve the person I am. I still love to improve my trance music because I love trance music. And since I do talk about my story in this course for 1 hour, it's about my story today. That since I have a story here, I realize I've been doing this for 42 hours on the street in the tunnel. I realize that since I've been doing this in the tunnel for 42 hours, you understand that no matter what, I'll keep going. And that way I build my courage like this. I build my courage because it's about my I today. Or else when you speak a story, I need you to start with I. I need you to be selfish in a way that you give your experience of your life. Or else that when you're a selfish person, you'll give your story every single day. I'm a person who never used to be on the microphone before. I realize now, since I've stepped up in front of people, I realize I gain more courage this way. I'm always a person who understands I have to grow up much more. I have to be much more a baby. I do read so much in my life. I can read up to 35 hours of knowledge in 10 days. I can read 35 hours of knowledge in 10 hours. I can do 35 hours of knowledge in 10 hours. I realize that I read at 3.5 times speed. I read really quickly, and I write all day long. I write all day long. I realize I can write at any moment. I realize that each and every single step of the way, I'm writing something about what you never do. I realize that means I stay away from most of life. I realize that when I say what you never do, I say alcohol, I say that's what you never do. I realize that's what you get in terms of my journal. I realize that I've been journaling for 2 years now. I've been writing every single day my dates. I've been writing a date every single day. I realize I write 30,000 words about myself every day. I always do it in a video, or I do it in either a video or journaling or inside a quote. I write 30,000 words about myself every day, and I make sure no matter what, I'm always never limiting myself. I make sure that every single day I can uplift people because that's the kind of person I am every single day. I make sure that I can improve my communication skills every single day. I make sure that every single day I promote myself and go around Australia too. I've been travelling now for 1 year and I've been travelling Australia now for 1 year and 2 months without a 9-to-5 job. I realize it's simple about that. I realize that I'm free, I'm time free, I have money, I have personal freedom, I have emotional freedom. I look better than yesterday too. I'm a leader now. I've been in Toastmasters for 1 year. I realize now I do Toastmasters on the street. Thank you very much. I realize that each and every single time I do Toastmasters, I do on the street now. I realize I bring international Toastmasters on the street. I bring a nice beautiful seminar here every single day for 3 hours, and I practice. I practice in front of people every single day. I promise you in 10 years time, you'll find out about me. I promise you each and every single time, I'm very much never lazy. I'm never lazy about myself. I'm never lazy about the person I am. I'm always increasing my I. I love you, I love you, I love you. I have to speak my I have to speak my story out every single day. I have to understand that when it's about my story, I realize it's about easiness, I realize it's about easygoing lifestyle. I realize now, since I've been on the street, I realize I'm getting much better, and I understand that discomfort is my nature now. I understand that being in the street, in terms of giving public speaking events on the street, I realize it's the best way to improve your life. I realize it's the best way to improve your communication skills. I realize it's also the best way that you can become a leader. I realize every single day I come and do a performance here, I do it for my I. I realize that my I is something that is worthy. I realize my I can never die. I. Alright. have a dream. I have a dream to always be better than yesterday. I realize that's my story. I realize every single day I realize something. I realize I'll be doing better than yesterday. I'll be doing better than yesterday. I'm always doing better than yesterday. I'm always communicating my I every single day. I'm talking about the story now in front of people, and it's really easy. I realize I use my I. I start every single sentence with my I love you. I now will understand that no matter what, that I will do better. I will do better every single day because guess what? That is my mentality. I have a mentality, I must do better. I must do better. I must do better. I must repeat myself too. I must repeat myself. I must always show my I realize that I can never die. I realize every single day I enjoy myself in a way that I stay away from meat. I'm a vegan. I'm a person who's a vegan. I've been vegan for 20 months now. I realize that since I'm a vegan, I have more energy. I also live longer. I love better. I give more ideas. I also have more satisfaction and grow. I'm always a person who's growing. I'm always a person who has more love in I realize that when you're lifting people, you're going to give a story. I realize my story today is this course for 1 hour. I realize that every single day, I'm always a person who understands courage. I understand how to get it. I realize I get it in front of people. I realize I get it in front of my communication skills. I realize that my communication skills matter. And every single time, I'm always doing something with my communication skills. I'm always making sure I can do better today. Thank you. I realize that every single time I speak to my story, I make sure that you can hear me out. I realize when you hear me out, you understand my story. I understand that those people who have a story must also give one. You must give a story every single day. I realize that every single day you give a story, you will understand how to do so. I realize that every single day, I understand that I get up now. I realize I used to be a person who had $20 a day. I used to get it from my dad. I realized I used to get it from my biological dad. I now have $2,200 every single day. I realized that how do I do it? I understand I have better habits. I have better habits than yesterday. I have better disciplines. I make sure every single day I expose myself in my story every single day. I had a pornography addiction before. I also had a masturbation addiction. I did, and guess what? I became it. I became all of that because Jesus said delay gratification. Otherwise, when you delay gratification, you'll also be a person who never watches pornography and never masturbates. And you should understand that is what I do. Otherwise, I do it every single day, and I use my emotions to do so. I make sure that I'm always athletic. I make sure I'm always fitness. I make sure that no matter what, I will also do better. I'm making sure every single day I'm doing something that's going to lift my confidence. I'm doing something that's going to help me to increase my legacy. Because guess what? You also have to. I realize every single day I start with my I need to do something better today. That's how I start my day. I have to do something I've never done. I have to push myself beyond limits. I have to push myself to do something I've never done. I realize that's why I go through my fears easily. I go do something better that I've never done. I realize that every single day I rewatch my videos. I rewatch these videos because when I rewatch it, I realize I watch it on 4 times the speed. I then watch myself and my body posture and how everything went. I realize then I learned something from the video. I also watch myself, and that's increasing my self-love too. Whereas when I increase my self-love, I increase my self-love in a way that I understand that to watch myself all day long, even when I do photo shoots of myself, and I also have to record my photo shoots now with a phone, and I just have to get myself a selfie stick, and that way I understand to record myself each and every single day, and love myself every single day by being on video and doing some photos every single day. I realize it's very helpful. Thank you very much. I realize each and every single day you promote yourself, you'll understand why you can speak a story. I realize my why is Jesus. I realize I do my story in Jesus' name. I realize that I believe in Jesus. I follow Jesus' path. I realize that Jesus today would say you just keep it up and you just keep inspiring yourself that day. I realize that's the only point of recommendation every single day. You must do something to improve your life. I realize every single day I make sure to stay away from negative people and the pub and the casino and the bar and all of that. I stay away from them. I stay away from festivals. I stay away from alcohol people. I stay away from cigarette people. I don't need them in my life. I need something better than that. I need information products. I need someone of a billionaire in my life. I need somebody whose business mindset in my life. I need somebody such as my mentors who are Lewis Howes. I've got Lewis Howes. I've got Tim Ferriss. I've got John C. Maxwell. I've got Jim Rohn. I've got Zig Ziglar. I've got motivational speakers. I've got also Tony Robbins. I've got Vishen Lakhiani. I've got Eckhart Tolle. I've got many aspects of my life and have mentors. I have mentors who teach me business skills every day. I realize I get some entrepreneurship skills. I get some leadership skills. I make sure no matter what, I'm always showing up for success. I always make sure I have a better schedule. I have a nice, beautiful tonality in my life because guess what? I have the 1 hour rule, which states I must be indoors for 23 hours every single day. I must be indoors every single day for 23 hours when I have my 1 hour rule. I realize my 6 p.m. rule is be outdoors from 10 I realize I'll be outdoors from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is my 6 p.m. rule. I have a curfew of 6 p.m. every single day. I must be indoors at 6 p.m. I must be indoors. I cannot be outside in the darkness after 6 p.m. I must be inside. Thank you. I realize that's my 2 schedules that I do. I can either go in the 1 p.m. rule, or I can go in the 1 hour rule or the 6 p.m. rule. I realize every single day I'm doing something better. I make sure to be punctual in my life. I make sure to always arrive on time to do my work. I realize that when it's your work, I realize you're going to do something greater. You understand? You have to always understand to speak your story out and do something much more profound. I realize every single time I look at people, I find something else of interesting nature. I find myself really, really dwelling in my emotions these days. I'm much more in my emotions. I realize that when I'm in my emotions, I realize that I'm not in my mind. I'm in my emotions. I'm in my heart every single day. I'm using the body to speak. I push my body. I push my communication skills. I realize that each and every single day I learn something about myself. I learn something for nothing. I learn something about myself every day. And that's the whole point. I realize I learn a new tactic. I learn a new skill. I learn something of courage. I learn something about people every single day. I push myself. I put myself in the spotlight every single day. Because guess what? You have to promote yourself. I have to promote myself and my Instagram every single day for the next 73 years. I have to do 3-hour videos every single day. I have to do 3 hours of video at public speaking every single day for the next 73 years in order for myself to give my story and become successful. I realize that's all it takes. I realize it takes 3 hours of work in terms of video and public speaking every single day for the next 73 years to become more successful. I have to do it. I realize it's my passion. I realize you have a passion. You also have to do some video work. I also have to do it. I realize that everybody has to do much more work. I quit cigarettes. I was a person who was a 7-year smoker. I was a 7-year smoker. And I quit cigarettes because I quit caffeine. I quit the drugs behind cigarettes because I used to be a smoker in terms of weed. I used to smoke weed. I realized I quit the weed, I quit the alcohol, and I quit the caffeine. I realized that caffeine is the main ingredient to quit cigarettes. I realized I used to smoke and drink coffee in the morning once I wake up. I realized now I wake up, I realize I drink soy milk and water only. That's all I drink. I realize that's my life. I realize my life is something greater today than yesterday. I realize I used to be very fat. I used to have 47 kilos heavier than this. I realize I used to be very fat. I used to be 130 kilos. I dropped it down to 67. I became vegan. Thank you. I realize that veganism is going to help you lose weight. I've never met a fat vegan in my life. I've never met a successful, famous police officer in my life. I realize I've met Jim Carrey though. I realize that he's the Ace Ventura. I realize no matter what, you understand that you need to understand that each and every single day you speak your story out. I realize that each and every single day I have a mentor. I'm always upgrading my knowledge. I realize I wake up in the morning, I listen to some music, and I upload photos inside my Instagram. I upload 60 photos a day of myself. I make sure each and every day I go and brand myself one time somewhere. I do something related to my personality. I do something related to my eye. I realize now I can let go. I can let go and speak my eye, and I can realize I can never die when I have my eye. I realize the eye is important to public speak. I realize that to public speak you have to be in front of a crowd to do so. I realize that being on video only online is never enough. I used to be in the crowd, speaking and leading them. I need to understand that is the way to go. I need to understand that since I'm recording myself here, I'm also showing my story. Otherwise, that is one way. Approach another way is writing a journal and show them your ideas every single day. Approach, that's another way to speak your story. Approach, when you look at my story, in terms of my journaling, you'll find how I speak my story. I speak my story in terms of how can I develop today. I speak my story on video. I speak my story in a topic. I speak my story in my photos. I speak my story in my Instagram. I speak my story in the way I dress and also in the way I am, and also the way I pronounce my vocabulary and the way my pronunciation is. The way I do something every single day is to be better. I'm always better than yesterday. Thank you very much. I'm always doing something for nothing. I make sure they don't understand what that is, which is just you give some love for nothing. You do it for nothing in terms of you're not doing it for money. You're doing it for freedom. And I do something for nothing. I never do it for money, or else I just do it for something. Or else because something for nothing means you do it for something and never for nothing. Or else people are working for nothing these days. Or else you have to do it for something. Or else that's why I do it for something for nothing. Or else that's why I elaborate on my story every single day. I make sure no matter what, that each and every single day my tonality is much better. I have to make sure my tonality is much better. I have to make sure my mindset is much better. I have to make sure that whoever's rejecting me, I reject them, because guess what? I never reject myself. I realize that it's not about rejection in the first place. I realize it's about lifting. I realize that those who reject me, also I reject them. I realize that who you go to is also going to be in your face. I realize that like attracts like. I love to read. I've read for 6 years. I started at 22. I'm now around 28. I realize that number one in my heart with Jesus. I realize that no matter what, I never get confused about numbers, because number one is the biggest number. Whereas number one is the biggest. So I'd rather be number one than be number trillion. Otherwise, you have to understand what that is. You have to put yourself first. I put myself first every single day. I make sure that I'm above everybody else in terms of my life. I make sure that I'm with Jesus. I'm with Jesus Christ all the time. I'm with Jesus Christ. I make sure I'm not competing with anybody else. I'm making sure that I'm just above myself and much better than yesterday. I'm always pronouncing my love to show myself in a greater way. I promise you, that's my story. I promise you, my story went from down. I promise you, my story went down from how I was before. And guess what? I'm up now. I'm always up. I'm making sure no matter what, that you understand that for the first 25 years, my life was going down. I realized I was going downhill. Even as a baby, I'm still a baby now, I realized that my life from 0 to 25 was going down. And why? Because I was never writing my thoughts down. I was never the person to read. I was never the person to do some video work. I was never the person to get up in front of a crowd. I never learned how to do so before. And what changed? I had to put myself in front of a crowd. I had to start writing my ideas down. I had to start reading. I had to start improving my life and getting serious about my life to succeed. I realized that now, every single time I do public speaking on the street, I learn something different about the crowd. I learn something more. And that way I understand to get more results like that. Because when you learn more, you have more results. I get more results every day. I make sure to boost my knowledge every single day, because it's about my story today for 1 hour. Otherwise, I have a nice story to say over here. I've got something to say over here. I've got something to say. Otherwise, I've got something to say. I'm more important. I thank you very much. Otherwise, no matter what, that you understand that I'm just a person who understands I'm always doing something to improve my life. Otherwise, when people are saying shh, shh, otherwise they're saying that their baby is more important than me. Otherwise, that you never shh anybody. Otherwise, that I am more important. Otherwise, that I make sure to see everything that I can and to say everything I can to succeed every single day and to get more discomfort in my life. I need more discomfort because that's how I grow. I grow through story showing. I show myself every single day. I show the person I am. I show and expose myself totally. I'm always much better than yesterday. I'm always making sure that no matter what, that nobody can shush me up. Because guess what? I never need you to be shushed up, because that way you understand to speak up and encourage the crowd to lead. That's why I'm here today. I'm here today to give my story. I realise that every single day I do my life. I do it much better than yesterday. I realise that I have a nice, beautiful place to live in, and guess what? It's inside. I realise inside I have all the energy in the world. I'm a vegan. I'm a person who understands more energy. I have more peak performance. I'm looking better than yesterday. I used to be fat and ugly. I used to be very ugly before. I lost weight. I turned vegan. I lost all the weight. I realised that is the only way. You have to go and dive into the information in order to lose weight. You have to dive into the information to be a business person. You have to dive into the information to live a better life. I promise you, I do that every single day. I do that every single day because leadership for me means being happier. And to be happier, I understand I have to go into the information to get happiness. I go into information, I read information, I just dwell in it. I dwell in information. Although I came to a stage where I read so much and I wasn't doing it. Although you understand I was doing it, although I have to start teaching it now. Otherwise, that eventually when you're reading and reading and reading, you're going to have to start teaching what you read. Otherwise, now I teach it 3 hours a day. I public speak on the street 3 hours a day on video. Otherwise, that's a mentality and that's a habit. I need you to have the same habit too. I need you to understand that each and every single time you get on the street, you will learn something. I realize that my story is also progressing throughout every single video. I show people every single day in my videos what I do in terms of my how-to topics. I may expose an idea here and there about my story in my videos. I realize every single video will have something about my story and something about my day. I realize that your story can be on video, your story can be in writing, your story can be in audio programs. I realize that each and every single second of your life, you must be recording your life. You must be having a documentary of your life every single day. You must always do that because I do it. I realize that I am worth it. You must also be worth it. I realize that my legacy must be better than yesterday, so every day I promote myself on the street. I promote myself every single day, and I make sure I'm in front of the crowd to do so. I make sure I public speak in front of the crowd. I realize that's what personal development is. I realize I have to personally develop myself every day to make sure I'm best. I realize that I can be the best I can be all the time, because I'm always better than yesterday. I realize that is a peak performer. Those people who look better than yesterday and feel better are the ones who are going to lead. You need to lead. You have to lead yourself into greatness. I do that every single day. I do that every single day in the way that I understand freedom. I understand freedom every single day to understand that whatever's going on every single day is going to improve me. I have to improve myself every single day so I understand life. I have to understand life all the time. I have to speak my own intent. Or as Jesus said, I need you. I need you. Well, that's a question. I mean, it's the same question like, would you come with me? Unless I need you. I need you. I need you here with me. I need you to live with you. I need to live with you. I need you to understand I'm your friend. Otherwise, that's the whole point of living. Otherwise, I'm your friend today. I'm a person who understands that we all have the story. And when you reject people, you also reject yourself. You have to understand, you go and be in front of people. You go and be in front of people. You give them attention. I need you to understand that you go where the best information is. Otherwise, I reject most people, because guess what? I realize that 1% of the people are going to give you the best information. I give you the best information though. I realize that no matter what, I'm always in front of people too. I realize that I look people in the eyes. I never reject them. Although you understand that you only have 24 hours in a day. I realize that you only have 24 hours in a day and you have to invest your time. You're an investor. I promise you, you're a person who's rich. I do reject a lot of people, although I look at people when they're in front of me. I realize I give people attention every single day. I realize that I'm not a person who rejects people. I just go where the best time management is and where the best skills are. I realize that most people waste your time. I value my time, and that's why I reject most people, because I value my time. I need to be around successful people. I need to be around multi-millionaires. I need to be around billionaires who teach me something. I teach every single day something for nothing. I teach what the billionaires teach. I teach you to be the best version of yourself. I now am the best version of myself, and I live up to my standards, which has just become better and better and better throughout time. Whereas now I'm much more comfortable in front of a crowd, because guess what? I've been doing it for quite a while, and I realized that 42 hours of public speaking in front of a crowd is more enough to increase your confidence. Whereas now I am just doing a better job. I'm doing a better job in terms of Jesus Christ. I do everything for Jesus Christ. I follow Jesus Christ every single day. I do something that's really going to help me every single day to live my life. I have to always have a brighter smile. I have to be much more in a leadership term. I have to do something that's really much more worth it. I have to understand that you have to always lead. You have to lead people for the greatness of common life. You have to understand that common life is common sense. Probably those people who have more common sense are the ones who are living life. I realize every single day I do something around my schedule. I do something around my schedule every single day to improve my life. I realize that every single time I can never cut my eye. I can never do that. I have to understand that every single day I'm doing something every single day to always make sure that I never shut up, because I make sure to brighten my tonality every single day. I brighten my tonality every single day. I'm doing something every single day to understand that I can do better. I can do better, because guess what? I understand that many people will say for you to just go downhill. I understand that you never need to do that. I understand that what you need to do today is something greater. I understand that's what I do. I realize my story is something greater today. I'm giving it every single day. I'm giving my story every single day to understand I can do it. I can do it. I'm doing it right now. I must do it. I must be in front of the crowd to promote my name, because nobody else will. I promise you will never promote my name. I promise you will never promote my name. You will promote your own name. I have to also. I need you to understand what leadership is here. I need you to understand that leadership is promoting your name. You can get more than enough courage right here to show you, so you understand that I'm promoting my name here over here. I'm promoting my name over here. So I understand that now today I promote my name more than ever. I make sure that my Instagram is much better than yesterday and has better photos of me in terms of my quality. I produce more quality work. I make sure no matter what, I'm public speaking every single day now. I make sure that I calculate everything over time. I calculate everything by 100. I realize that I'll be living up to 100. I realize that I'll live more than that, although make my calculations up to 100. I realize that when I have any certain age, I realize I make sure to calculate how much time I have in my life. I realize that I calculated recently that when you work 15 hours a week for the next 73 years, I realize that it's only 6 years of life that you go and work in a 9 to 5. I realize I have 66 years to work for free. I realize that I only work for free. I never work for money. I realize that I'm always free. I always do what freedom is. I always do something that's for free. I realize when I do it for free, I can give you business, I can give you some skills, I can give you something of worthy intent, I can give you something of idea. I can give you some ideas to improve your life. That's the whole point. It's freedom. It's something that's going to help you every single day to help your life. That's why I'm here. I'm here to give you my story. My story is helping me now because guess what? I realize that when you're speaking your I intent in front of a crowd, it's worth it. I realize that I can always never die in front of a crowd. I can let go and also speak my I intent in front of the crowd. And I realize that people will look at me and I will just always increase my I. Thank you. I realize that every time you say I love you more and more, I realize that you will also be more confident. I realize that I is what I speak. I speak I always. I now will say that my story is always increasing my I. I have to increase my I. I do it on paper. I do it in my journal, I do it in my video. I also realize that I'm much more confident now. I'm much more confident because I'm increasing my I. I realize that I always come back to the I. I always find something in my life that's really going to help me. I realize I find something in my life that's going to help me in a way that's going to show me who I am. I show myself every day who I am in my public speaking tone. I show myself in terms of my skills and my mindset and my spirituality, and I make sure that I pronunciate my words much better, because that's the whole point of public speaking. Because you have to communicate better and better and better throughout time. You have to understand that you must be worth it. I realize that sometimes I let go and I realize that my mindset messes up my communication, although I get back in it and I make sure no matter what that I never mess up. I never mess up anymore as I'm talking about my life every single day. I make sure that every single day my life is to be heard, because guess what? Your life must be heard every single day. You must be promoting your Instagram too. I realize that's the whole point of speaking about your story. I realize that's the whole point of my course here. I realize that your course must be your story. I realize every single day I promote my story more and more, and I also have to look at the crowd as I promote my story. So I learn along the way everything. I learn everything about the crowd I'm also with people. I'm never against them. I never be against life, and I am rich or better in my tactic to understand that I block any resentment. I realize that when I have resentment, I go and learn from that person I resent. I learn from the person I resent because I'm a student. I realize that when I learn from the person I resent, I say I love that person. I love that person. I don't hate that person. I love him that he's so successful. I love that he has that music. I wish I had this music. I love him so much. And that way I understand I never resent, because I love the person now. I realize that when you don't love somebody, you hate them and you resent them. You have to change from hate to love. You have to say, I love that person. I never hate them. I need to speak it out. I need to understand that when I'm a person who does better than yesterday, I'm always doing better than yesterday right now. Although I'm a person who communicates better, I'm feeling better, and that is a whole difference. I promise you, it's a whole difference to understand your I intent. I can speak about my I all day long. I realize my I is my why in Jesus' name. I realize I follow Jesus. I realize that Jesus is a person who never has sex. I never have sex either. I never need sex. I'm a sexual person already. I'm a person who's sexual because my high energy is sex. I have high sex drive. I'm a person who has sex. I never have to have sex in my life because I understand Jesus Christ. I realize that it's the whole point of life. I realize that I'm a person who never goes for pleasure. I never go for pleasure. I never do pleasure activities. I never do alcohol. I never do anything to do with women. I never do anything to do with any other person. I'm not a gay person. I'm not a bisexual person. I'm a straight person. Although I never chase people. I never chase anybody. I make sure that I'm always doing something better than yesterday. I'm always making sure my skills are increasing. I'm making sure that each and every single time I can also practice my emotional skills in front of a crowd, because that's how you grow. You grow through intention. I realize every single time, it is my I intent. I'm always figuring out who the crowd is, and I understand that in the crowd you must grow. You must grow, you must lead every single day. I realize it's about speaking about your story. I realize your story must be greater and greater throughout time. To be greatness, you have to be greatness today. I realize that greatness is your story. I realize every single time I speak about my story, I've got more to give. I've got more scenarios about my story. I grew up also in Cabramatta. I was born in Sydney, Australia. I'm a Sydney boy. I'm a Sydney baby. I'm from Sydney. I realize that I'm a person who's 28. I'm a person who's 28, although I'm number one in my heart with Jesus. I never forget about number one. I realized that since I grew up in Cabramatta, I went to Cabramatta High School. I also went to Cabramatta Public School. I also went to Cabramatta Primary School. I realized even before public school, which is just an elementary school. I realized that I finished year 12 I realized that I was never supposed to. I realized that many billionaires today never finished year 12. I realized they finished year 10 and dropped out and became billionaires. I realized why? Because they were never around the crowd. I realized now these days I've left my biological father who lives in Sydney right now. I realized he lives in Sydney, and my only family right now is I in Brisbane right now. I just have I and Jesus. I realized that's all I have, and that's all I ever need. I realized although everybody else in terms of my family is overseas, I realized I just have I realized I have my Jesus, I have I and my biological dad here in Australia. I realized it's all I ever need. I realized no matter what, I'm just a person who's always growing. I'm making sure my story is heard today. I realize that every single day I'm a person who's growing. I realize my goals are to live up to 100 and beyond. I have to live more and more. I became a vegan to do so. I am really strict about what I eat. I only eat legumes. I only eat soy products. I make sure no matter what, I eat canned food only. I eat plant protein only. I only eat that. I drink soy milk and water only. I realize that anything to do with water, I drink mineral water and soda water in terms of sparkling water and mineral water. I only drink water and soy milk. I realize that since I drink that, I get my protein from soy milk. I realize that I drink 2 bottles of soy milk every day. I drink 2 litres, I get 60 grams of protein. I weigh around 67 right now. I get my metabolism started with soy milk every single day. I realize it's a big, powerful shake that you can do every single day. I realize I use that to gain energy every single day. I use peanut butter with bread. I eat some peanut butter with bread every single day. I probably should get some energy. I also make sure I get some tofu. I get $3.50 tofu from the Woolworths. I get 76 grams of protein in that. I realize I eat it straight away. I realize that I use chili sauce also. I have chili sauce from Nando's. I realize I use that one because it has low sodium. I eat low sodium foods. I eat low fat food. I eat also low sugar food. I stay away from the soft drinks. I never drink soft drinks. I never drink alcohol. I never drink anything of cocktails. I'm a person who's sober. I've been sober for over 6 years. I've been off the legal drugs for over 2 years now. I used to be a 7-year smoker. I used to be 5 years insomniac. I used to be a mental health institute person. I used to be in a mental health institute for 5 years. I used to be going to mental health institute 2 days a week for...
That PA system is so bad. You can't hear a word you're saying.
You can hear me on my Instagram. I realize every single day that you understand that no matter what, I'm just a person who's growing. I'm a person who understands that other people cannot hear me. I don't care. I realize what's important, you can see my Instagram. I realize every single day you can understand that my life is much better because I show myself in a daily life. I show myself in the way. I thank you very much. I thank you. I realize people are shouting me out over here. I realize that I'm just a person who's growing every single day. I increase my skills and my foundation in business. I love business. I'm here for business today. I'm here to be in front of a crowd to lift my confidence today and to also inspire somebody who's going to watch my videos after, because I do 3 hours of video every single day, and that way you can find 3 hours of video I do every single day. I mean, I read much more than that. I realize I read every single day. I can read up to 35 hours of knowledge in 10 hours. I read 3.5 times faster. I make sure no matter what, I'm always doing something profound. I'm always doing something that's going to help me. I always make sure that my eye intent is my life. I realize that my eye is everything. I realize that you have to understand the crowd. I realize that I let go now. I realize that I am supposed to, although you understand that it's the best way to communicate. You have to let go of your emotions. You have to have no tension in your body while you're public speaking. I realize that when I go in front of a crowd, I realize I give my best performance because it's about peak performance. I realize peak performance means better than yesterday. I'm always better than yesterday. I'm always doing something around communication work. I realize that Jesus is a communicator. I realize communication is how you look. I realize it's how I look today. I realize that it's also how you look. I realize that how you look depends on how you're going to do it. You have to understand, you have to be better than your looks. You have to be better and smarter than how you look. You have to understand to always increase your smartness. I always make sure to always read something about entrepreneurship and what's going on with self-education. I'm a self-education guru. I'm a person who teaches my life everything. I teach myself the most. I apply the information I read, and I make sure to live my talk. I'm integrity today. I make sure that is what I do every single day. I do integrity, and that's why I'm in front of the crowd today. I'm in the spotlight. You also have to be in the spotlight. I realize that many people will walk by, and guess what? There's only one quality person that you must be, and that's you must be better than yesterday. You must realize that many people are quantity. Realize they're walking with the crowd. You have to be the one who is in the spotlight. I promise you, that's the quality one. I promise you, the quality one is in the spotlight all the time. because you have to be a quality person all the time. You have to always look better. You have to be a fashion model. I'm a fashion model. You can go on Instagram. I've got over 5,000 images of myself. Well, so you can go find it. Well, that way you understand. I post 60 photos on my day. I post 60 photos of myself on Instagram every single day. Well, that's why I model myself. I model myself with music. This time I learned I can also promote my poster and I can promote my beautiful portable speaker every single day. I can do something about my story every single day. I can show you my story, and that way you can relate with because I was a schizophrenic before. I was in a mental health institute for 2 days of the week for 5 years. I mean, for 5 years, guys. Because that now is something to say, because guess what? I'm doing better. I overcame schizophrenia. I used to be on the paliperidone. I used to be on the Seroquel. I used to be mentally ill. I realized that I used to have a social worker for 5 years. I realize now I can stand up in front of the public, I can speak, I can do something greater. Thank you very much. I realize that when you're increasing your eye, you're going to also never die. I realize that eye is everything. And now, since I do boost my eye in my story, I realize that it's about my story today. I realize that when I talk about my story, I talk about it so you can relate with me. I realize that I've been living in Sydney for 25 years. I've been overseas for 2 years. I realize I've been around Australia for the past 1 year and 2 months. I've left Sydney. I just went to Sydney to visit my biological dad for 1 month. I realised I've been travelling for 1 year and 2 months without a 9-to-5 job. I realised I'm a person who has financial freedom. I'm a person who does have wealth. I do have personal freedom. I do have emotional freedom. I mean, when I say I have emotional freedom, I mean, I do no alcohol and drugs. I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, I'm a vegan. I mean, that's emotional freedom. I mean, personal freedom means I am independent and interdependent. I'm ready to lead other people too, which is interdependence. Whereas I'm an interdependent person who can lead other people. I'm also my brand today. I'm a brand today, and I'm my own company. I'm my own legacy. So that's what I promote all day long. I just promote I, in Jesus' name. I promote I because I follow Jesus. I realize that every single day I follow Jesus, I'm always better and better than yesterday. I'm always making sure that after this video, I'm going to watch myself. I always watch myself daily, all day long. I love to watch myself. I watch myself more than everything else. I realize that's the whole point. I have to stick to my eye. I realize that the one thing that helps me the most is my eye. I realize I have to speak my eye intent. I realize I sing it because now, when you heard it, you're going to say I in your mind. You'll understand that is the way to boost your confidence. I realize I use my eye. I also promote my social media every single day. I do it in front of a crowd. And now, when I do it in front of a crowd, I realize that over time, I realize that it's going to multiply and multiply and multiply. Numbers will multiply, and many people are going to follow me, and many people are going to understand who I am in 10 years' time, and in 20 years' time, 30 years' time. I promise you, you'll find out about me. I promise you that I'm growing daily and really quickly. I'm growing really quickly, and I will hit superstardom in Australia really quickly. I promise you, within the next 10 years, you'll hear about my name really big time. I'm a big time player. I'm a big time person. You'll hear my name in 10 years' time, you'll understand who I am. Whereas I'm a person who is Serbian, I'm half Croatian also. I'm half Serbian and half Croatian. I am a derivative of Nikola Tesla kind of way, although I'm much better than who I am. Whereas I'm not Nikola Tesla, I'm something greater than who I am. Whereas that I'm something much better. I'm in Jesus' name. I'm following Jesus Christ every single day. Whereas that I make sure I stay away from prison. I've been to prison once. I hit a woman. Whereas she hit me first. I reacted, and that's why I went to prison, and she never went to prison, because she hit me first, and I hit her back, and that was never the way to go, although that day, I was ready to kill someone, or I was very much more smarter than that, or else that no matter what, I was a person who did get into a side hustle with a gang and stuff like that. I was in a criminal gang, although I'm not a criminal now. I need to understand I was never in a criminal gang, although I was a gangster. I was a gangster wannabe. I call that criminal. I realised that no matter what, I'm not a criminal now. I'm a person who's never a criminal. I never was a criminal. I realised that no matter what, I'm always a person who understands. I used to lack so much. I used to have so much lacking confidence. I used to be fat. I used to be rejected so much. I realised that I had bad moments where my father, in terms of my biological father, would hit me and beat me, and also I grew up in a de facto family. I realised that my biological father and biological mother never got married before they had me, although you understand that I now pronounce myself better in this day. I'm still something worthy. I realised that I never talk about my biological mother anymore because she left, and I realised that she never forgives me, although I'm much better than her. Realize no matter what, I am a person who just never suffers anymore. I've got no suffering in me anymore. I realize I'm just joyful. I'm joyful because every single day I'm a person who understands my greatness. I'm a person who has greatness every single day. I'm a person who understands my freedom is my choice. I realize I have a choice every single day to show up and to promote myself. I realize now I walk Australia alone. I'm alone in Jesus' name. I realize that my only intent now is to leave greatness behind, and that's it. I realize that I just make sure to boost my legacy. I boost my legacy every single day. I make sure no matter what, I give some information on how to do so. I give ideas. I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. When you look at my Instagram, you'll see entrepreneur. I realize entrepreneur all the time. I realize every single time I'm doing something worthy. I'm doing something that's going to improve my confidence. I'm doing something in front of a crowd. I'm doing something to give my story every single day. I realize that I have to brand myself one time somewhere. I realize I use something like a background where I can do it. So I can do it here, I can do it there, I can do it here. I realize I can do some branding right now, although you understand I'm doing some branding right now. I realize that branding is a business and branding is my company and your company is your brand. I realize your brand is your face. I realize that my brand is my face. I realize what's important is how you speak. I realize many people will never be interested in you, and you can be totally fine with it, and you never be totally fine, you be something greater. I realize that I'm greater than I am yesterday. I realize that nobody has to bleed in my story. I realize that my story remains. I realize my story is in my video. I realize I record it, and I understand that I do it for something greater than I am. I realize that if I was here promoting without my story in terms of my video, and I was never promoting my video with it, I realize that nobody will care. I realize that I care, so I promote my video, I promote my Instagram, and in 20 years' time, many people will see me and many people will hear about me. I realize that way you understand that I have to show up every single day for 3 hours of session in terms of public speaking, because guess what? I still get to do my work. I still get to promote myself in my work. I understand my work is personal development, and it's spirituality, and it's marketing, and it's sales, and it's attitude, and it's abundance, and it's richness, and it's confidence, and it's leadership, and dedication, and consistency, and making sure you become a vegan, and a peak performer, and a business mindset. Realize that you become the best mindset in the world, and greatness. I talk about all of it. I'm a motivational speaker today. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a person who does love to live life much fully. I do have a lot of money, which is in wisdom. I give 500 courses right now. You can find it on my Instagram. You can go find 500 hours of courses in my Instagram. I'll give you something for nothing. I'll give you all for free. I'm for freedom. I've got nothing to charge you. I charge nothing for this. I give you all ideas to make sure that you got something of interest, to have something of positivity all your life, because that's what it's about. I realize it's about positivity every day. I realize every single day I do something encouraging. I do something to lift myself. I realize many people are discouraging. I get around to encouraging people every day. I get around Les Brown, I get around Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. I get around people who are very positive. I every day understand that most people would never care about you, although guess what? You never have to understand them, you just understand something greater. You have to understand that it's really about help them grow. I help people grow, and that way I never get rejected. I never get rejected because I don't believe in rejection. I don't understand what rejection is because we're all one. I understand we're all one in terms of life, and I realize that we're one with Jesus. I realize that everybody has a story. I realize that you must give a story today to improve. I realize that every single time I give something on my story, I do it in front of a crowd too now. I realize that is the whole point. I realize the whole point is do something greater than yourself every single day. I understand I know nothing. I use Socrates' rule, which says I know nothing. I realize the only thing I know is I know nothing. I realize I do that because it opens my mindset. I'm an open person. I welcome people. I make sure I leave the door open when they come back. And I realize when they resent me, I never resent them. I never hate them, I just lift them. I realize that life is going to go separate ways, and life is going to go in their own direction. I need you to understand that you must be your best friend. I'm my best friend in life. I realize that my best friend is Jesus Christ, and without Jesus Christ, I'll never be living this life. I realize that without Jesus Christ, I'm a person who is nothing. I'm always a person who understands I'm doing something greater. I'm doing something for Jesus Christ every day. I'm here for Jesus Christ. I'm not here for myself. I can hear myself. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram. Otherwise, every single day, I understand I'm always doing something that's really positive. I always do something that's going to help me.
I'm on your side, bro. Good on you, man.
I thank you.
It's about Jesus, man. It's a really good thing, man.
I thank you. I love
I'm
it.
proud of you, man. And when he comes soon, he'll remember it. I'm telling you.
I thank you. I'm not proud. I'm grateful, though. I thank you. I thank you. I realize that one guy supports me here, and I understand that those people who support you are the ones who love you. You understand that you support people, and you'll be supported. I understand that those people who have a story, you must give your story all the time. You must give the story all the time to become a better person, because it's about exposing yourself. I expose myself every day. I use my story technique, which is my journal. I realize my plan B is my journal. I realize my plan B is my plan A. I'm always exposing my story. I understand when I look at people, I can see who they are. I realize that when I tense up and use my emotions, I can also do that. I can understand it's the same thing. I understand it's also different, although it's really about communicating in a way that you're going to also learn from it. I learn from the crowd because guess what? I need to get one view from a different person all the time. I always have to get one view that's different from everybody, and that way I understand to promote myself daily. I do something daily to improve my life. I realize that life is not suffering. I realize I get my happiness from information. I get happiness from more information. I read it and I apply it. I realize that is how I improve my life. I realize that once I improve my life, I increase my story. I realize I increase my story by doing more videos. I increase my story by making sure I look better. I make sure to groom myself before I go brand myself. I then brand myself in terms of photo shoots, and then I go do my public speaking event. I realize after my public speaking event, I recap on my videos and I write my journal. I then write my journal. I make sure no matter what, I go eat something after my recapping and journaling. I then watch my mentors. I then write before bed. I make sure no matter what, I go sleep at 12 a.m. all the time. I realize no matter what, I'm always a person who has a curfew of 6 p.m. I realize that I have to be the kind of person who understands that I can also switch my beautiful shifts in terms of my 1 hour rule and my 6 p.m. rule anytime all the day. I realize that, I thank you very much. I realize each and every single time I'm doing something that is much more important. I understand that I may have seen that area or got nothing to do. I realize that I've always got something to do. I always got something to do, although I sometimes may switch from 6 p.m. rule to 1 hour rule. I then stay indoors for 23 hours. I'm that kind of person. I'm the person who understands I'm a divine being. I understand my spirituality. I love Osho. I speak from Osho. I understand that I'm a person who is not Osho, although I am something in terms of Jesus Christ. I'm in Jesus Christ's name. I realize that I'm never comparing myself with other people, although Osho is my mentor. I realize Osho is a spiritual teacher. I learn a lot of spirituality these days. I live in the moment all the time. I'm always a person who lives in the moment. I understand that my story is being recorded right now. I realize that way I understand I never lose anything. I never lose the person I am. I realize what's important is speak in front of the crowd your story much more and more, and let people understand how you do life. I understand that each and every single time I do life, I do habits. I'm a habit worker in a better way. I make common sense by writing things down. I realize that I understand John C. Maxwell, and he taught me a lot in terms of intentional growth. I understand too, I have to intentionally grow in front of people. I have to intentionally grow in front of people. And that way I understand my heart is to grow every single day. I have to grow myself to improve. I have to grow every single day so I can grow you. I have to love myself daily. I can love you like that. I realize every single day I love myself so I can love other people. I realize every single day I give some ideas. I give you more ideas. I have so many ideas over here. I have so many ideas. You can go and grab some free ideas. I promote free ideas. I thank you. I realize that every single day I'm talking about my story. I understand I'm talking about the person I am. I'm talking about something greater. I realize I do things for the common good of life. I do something that is Jesus. I do something that is only Jesus. I only believe in Jesus in life. I only follow Jesus. I relate in each situation. What will Jesus do here? I relate everything with Jesus. I make sure every situation I ask Jesus what he will do. I understand that is the way I go. I go and make Jesus my compass. I realize that without Jesus I'll never live life. I realize that without Jesus there is no positivity in this planet. I understand that you must also realize that in order for you to grow, I have to understand to give you some ideas. I give you some ideas every single day, and that's going to help you to grow, because that is how I understand to grow. I grow by giving ideas. I realized I was a reader before, and I was reading and reading and reading, and guess what? I realized I have to start applying it. I have to start applying the information. I now apply 3 hours of content every single day. I do 3 hours of ideas every single day, and I give you more courses and more courses and more courses, and then that way you get it for free. I realized I get promoted. I then become something big because it gave me freedom. I gave you freedom. I gave you for free. I realize now, because it's for free, I've learned something from the situation. I've learned something in terms of my crowd. I've learned how the crowd is, and I'm learning more about the crowd all the time. I'm never a person who knows anything. I know nothing. I just know how to do better. I know nothing. I just learn more on how to do better. I never know how to do better. I just learn more. I see how to do better. I can just see. I can see it. I can never know. I can never know the truth. I can only see it. I can only see what everything is. I can see how Jesus lived, and that's where I go. I see the faith. I realize that Jesus said, "Have faith in I." I realize that when I see Jesus, I see the path. I see how he lived. I see his habits, and that's what you need to see. You need to see people's habits. I realize that when you see people's habits, you can look at them with the heart, and you can connect your heart with them. You can look at your heart, and you can understand your heart is never a liar. Once you have to go to your heart because you have an ego mind. I've overcome my ego. I've overcome my ego every single day. I realize I'm always on top of my ego. I have to be on top of my ego to be more spiritual. I realize that when I go on top of my ego, I have to also make sure I'm reading more throughout time. I have to be that kind of person always overtaking the ego and never doing, I realize I never am doing egotistical nature. I'm never doing egotistical tendencies. I'm never that kind of person who goes around the crowd. I realize when I go around the crowd, I go there to lift them only. I never hang around with the crowd. I only go there to lift the crowd. I lift the crowd because I'm not the crowd. I'm something better than the crowd. I'm quality. I realize the crowd is quantity. I'm not quantity, I'm quality. I'm the person who stands in the spotlight. I need you also to understand that you must do so, and you must do so eventually. And that way you understand, I now never resent. I never resent because I'm doing better than yesterday, or else I've learned some skills on how to do better. I teach so many life skills. I'm a life coach. I'm a person who's a life coach. I teach you about life and how to overcome your demons. Or else I teach everything about life. I teach everything. Or else I teach everything. I've lost 47 kilos too. Thank you very much. I've lost 47 kilos. I've become a vegan. I'm a vegan too. I'm a person who understands that kindness is absolute. Or else that you have to look at people more. I also have to understand to look at people more because I lose myself in I. Or that when I do that, I understand that I just have to be more attentive toward people. Or that I have to show some encouragement over here. I have to understand how to grab people's attention. I have to understand that it's also about storytelling, in terms of storytelling. Or that I have to understand to go and vibe much better. I have to understand that there is a better way I can do everything. I always have to understand to be more self-aware. I'm a more self-aware individual because I journal every single day. I journal in the way that I write and do video content and I do audio content every single day. I do something related with growth every single day. I make sure to read something and to be updated with my mentors every single day. I have to be updated in the way that I understand to read what my mentors are giving me. I read economics and whatever they say in economics, I stay away from that. I stay away from economics, although I read about it. I read about everything. I'm a reader, I'm a leader because I'm a reader. I'm a person who reads everything. I read you, I read how I do everything, I read how we live life better. I make sure I'm a student throughout life. I'm always a student. I'm making sure no matter what I do, I'm always going to be a person who deserves more. I have to be more deserving. I have to increase my legacy. I have to understand my legacy is important. I have to understand that I can do better than what I do. I have to understand that I am also selfless. I help people with ideas. I help people to live a greater life. I understand that once I do that, I understand I get what I deserve. I get a greater life. Whereas once I help people get a greater life, I also help myself first. I help myself first. I put myself first in Jesus' name only. I never just say I put myself first, or I never just say that I'm number one. I'm number one with Jesus only. I put Jesus in the mix with number one. Whereas that way I understand who I am. Whereas I'm more like Jesus every single day. I follow Jesus. I look at Jesus. I see through people. I never know the truth. I see the truth. I never know people. I see who people are. I can see everything, and nothing is never exposed. I can see everything and who people are by their habits. I understand my habits are far excelling myself. Whereas my habits are great. I have great habits. I have great habits. I have great habits. I realize that since I have great habits, I realize nobody can put me down. I realize nobody can say anything about me. I realize I'm looking better than yesterday. I realize that those people who criticize me are really criticizing themselves. I've got nothing to criticize about. I realize I'm a person just lifting. I'm just a person lifting all the time. I realize every single time I do that, I have to pronounce my words in a better way. I always have to do it with my eye. I realize when you speak your eye though, it's about your story. It's about your story when you're speaking your eye. I must understand that every time I start with my eye, it's going to be about I only. I realize that is why I speak about my story more in my journal. I talk about everything. I talk about my life. I talk about my day. I talk about my time difference. I talk about my money. I talk about how much wisdom am I getting today. I talk about how am I going to increase my skills today. I have to talk about everything. Thank you very much. I have to talk about everything in my journal. I have to write it all down. I have to realize I never do it in my head. I never do anything in my head anymore. I write it down into video. I write it down into audio. I write it down into a journal. I write it down into a quote. I use the 5-second rule, as Mel Robbins says. You have 5 seconds to write an idea down. I write in a quote really quickly. I do it quickly. I write 25,000 quotes you can find for free. I've got 25,000 ideas. You can get my quotes. I'll give it to you for free. I've got over 300 hours of courses. You can go and get my ideas for free. Otherwise it's for free. I'm better than yesterday, so you may as well. That is the whole point. I realize I'm giving ideas for nothing. I mean, I'm doing it for something, although guess what? I'm doing it for something, I'll give it to you for nothing. I understand I never expect anything from you in return. I realize that I understand freedom. I understand what freedom is. I understand that when I work for free, I will gain freedom. I never work for money. I never need to work for money. I realize that money is misery. I realize that what money is, in terms of my life, is wisdom. I realize I give you wisdom, I have all the money in the world. I realize that Jesus never worked for money. I never work for money, I work for freedom. I work for something greater. I work for something more than money. I realize money never solves an issue. I realize what solves an issue is skills. I boost my skills on the street, I boost my skills everywhere. I boost my skills in my accommodation. I'm rich or better every single day. I realize that I am a person who uses the term I'm rich or better. I realize that when I use that, I realize I use it from Jack Canfield. I realize he says when you say I am, you say it with I am rich or better. I realize when I use the or better at the end of I am, I realize I use much better wording. I realize now I'm rich or better. I may be much more spiritual now. I realize when you say I'm rich, you are just rich. I realize I'm rich or better. I realize you don't know what I said. I may have just blocked you. I may have forgiven you also. I realize every single day I forgive and I forgive and I forgive because I read more. I read more knowledge. I realize when I read more, I also forgive more. I realize when I read more, I get happier. I realize when I read more, I also have mentors to support me in terms of my ideas. I promise you when I go to my ideas, in terms of life, I give them into video, I give them into my journal. I give it value 24/7. I'm always giving value in some type of way. I'm either giving it by writing, or audio, or video. I'm always doing some value work. I promise you over the next 10 years, I promise you there are going to be more people doing writing and audio and video work. I do video work, I do a lot of content in terms of public speaking. I promise you that I'm an electronic music producer too. I did electronic music, I never did. I do electronic music production now for over 5 years, although all up it's been 2 years. I realize no matter what, I'm always doing better than yesterday. I always make sure that I can increase my knowledge. I thank you very much. I realize every single time I'm doing something that's going to help me, I do something that's really going to encourage me, I have to make sure I look better, I have to feel better, I have to have better habits, I have to make sure I feel better, I have to make sure I get more eyes on me. Whereas when I do that, I gain more courage. I gain more courage when people look at me. I gain more love when people look at me. I gain more of everything when people look at me because attention is where you need to be. You have to gain some attention. I gain some attention on the street, I gain some attention online, although online, I never do any engaging online unless I get a business opportunity or something like that, or else then I may reply, although I make sure to go and show myself in front of people, and I never ask for permission from anybody to do my work. I just go and show up and I do it every single day on the street. I do my work all the time. I'm always doing my work, I thank you. Whereas I'm always doing something that's really something for nothing. I'm always doing something that's really going to help me. I always make sure that every single day I'm looking people in the eye and I see that many people have a beautiful smile when they look at me, and I understand that every single day. I stay away from pornography and I stay away from masturbation. Whereas that's a pleasure activity, I stay away from pleasure activities. I make sure to overcome my demons. I realize that I have to build my muscle, I have to get bigger as a person. I have to put on 20 kilos of muscle, although it's a work in progress. I understand I have 73 years to do so. I have so much time to do so. I promise you what's important now is to build the attention over building muscle. Or I'd rather have 1 million followers now than my muscle mass. I realize it's much more important to have much more attention in life so you can have more of a legacy. I promise you that I can give you all the knowledge you need. Although I will eventually have bigger muscles, I will look better, I will be cleaner in terms of my life, which is just have more knowledge. Whereas I will also understand that I'm not a dirty person. I understand that I am a person who let go of the dirty stuff in my life. I was a person who was very dirty. I was very naughty. I realize now I'm much more cleaner, I'm much more richer. I'm a better person now than I ever was. I promise you I'm a better person in terms of my attitude. I'm a better person in my spirituality. I thank you. Whereas each and every single time, I'm always doing something to promote myself. I realize that I wear clothing I wear clothing in a way that every single week I throw it away. I make sure I never do laundry. I make sure I never invest money into real estate. I make sure to read about everything. I never block information, products. I make sure, although I block out the worldly matters of information. So anything to do with anything that's worldly, like politics and what's happening outside, and where they talk about this person got killed and this is what they're doing in politics and all of that, in terms of this is where they killed someone, I just make sure to eliminate that, even when it's an entrepreneur doing it. I don't care, because I stay away from politics, I stay away from the news, I stay away from the radio. I don't need that. I make sure no matter what, I stay away from the TV shows, I stay away from wrestling, I stay away from the sports, I stay away from anything on TV shows, I stay away from the cinemas, I stay away from cinema movies. I never watch cinema movies. I'm a person who understands. I stay away from ice cream and cake, I stay away from sugar, I stay away from any white sugars. I make sure no matter what, I'm never around white sugar. I make sure I'm always around natural sugars, and also I make sure that I vibe in a better way all the time. I make sure I'm always a vegan. I'm a vegan now. I make sure no matter what, I'm always going to do my life better. I'm always going to make sure that my life is doing something in a greater aspect. I make sure every single day I'm going to increase my skills today. Or else that's the whole mentality you need every single day. I thank you. Or else every single day you thank somebody, I need to say I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Or else Brian Tracy says, you never use the words if only. Or else I never use the words if only anymore because of that. Or else each and every single time I do something, I'm always much better. I always have to be much better. I have a dream today to love you much greater than yesterday. Because guess what? When I love you much greater than yesterday, I'm much better than yesterday. I'm much better when I give my love. I give my love through communication and skills and ideas. Or else when I do that, I'm always giving my story much more. I'm learning more about how to give my story in front of a crowd. I'm learning more about my freedom and who I am today, which is a divine being. I'm a divine being. I'm something beyond ordinary. I'm something extraordinary because I'm giving more. I'm loving more every single day. I'm giving ideas. And I pump music with my portable speaker. You may hear me around Brisbane. I pump my music after my public speaking event. I pump my entry music, which is my beautiful composition. I'm a music producer. I did a nice beautiful composition with Leo Bar. You can find her on my Instagram. I gave $1,200 for my beautiful soundtrack. I did it, so I got the instruments and I put it together, and I realized that is the whole point of a music producer. You have $2,000, you give it towards instruments and you go make your melody. You get somebody who is a vocalist to sing over your melody, and then you put the bass guitar in, and then you put the guitar in, then you put the live soundtrack, which is the drum track, and then you understand you have your nice beautiful saxophone solo, and you have your nice beautiful guitar solo. And you have your nice beautiful drum solo too. And you'll understand that every single day I learn something about my life more and more. I learn about everything. I realize my biological dad is in Sydney, and guess what? He's not here to support me. You'll understand that nobody else can talk for me, or else I have to walk my talk. I have to understand that everybody has to walk their own life. I understand that every single time I do that, I'm a person who understands much greater. I'm a person who understands there is a better way, or else that the better way is speak your eye more. Or else it's about talk a story, or else it's about talk about your story more. I need you to also do this. I need you to do this because I can speak with my eye. I never have to ask you a question. I never have to ask you anything. I never have to say for you to speak up or something like that. Or else that when I give you the microphone, I promise you if you're confident, you will speak on it. I promise you if you don't, otherwise it's all obvious. Or else I see that I just make more smart-ass tendencies in life. I'm never a person who's going down. I'm more obvious in terms of knowledge. I'm a person who understands greater goodness. I'm a person who is a student. I'm always a student of life. I'm more obvious about how I am. Or is that when I'm obvious, I'm making common sense. I'm a person who understands. I expose myself every day about my life. I can speak about my story all day long. I can speak about myself and how I grew up. Or as I grew up with a biological dad who smoked cigarettes. I then realized I had to smoke cigarettes because my biological dad did. Or as that was one of the destruction habits I did for 7 years. I smoked cigarettes for 7 years. I realized that's not the way to go. I was giving $7,000 for cigarettes every single year. I now have $7,000 extra to travel the world for free. Whereas that is the whole point. Whereas every single day, I'm a person who's doing something much more courageous. I'm doing something much more better than I. I realize that the government is also never the way to go in terms of money. I realize that the government may give you some money here and there, although it's never the way to go. I realize that you have to make your own, and the best way is you create more quality, you create more courses. I create more courses now because guess what? My courses are going to lift me. I realize that each and every single time I show up on the street, I realize I never have to rely on the government or anything like that because guess what? I never do. I'm always relying on Jesus Christ. I'm always doing something greater. I never rely on other people's money in life. I'm doing something to rely on something greater than money. I realize Jesus is greater than money. I never rely on money. I never rely on other people except for Jesus. I rely on Jesus Christ. I'm a person who's a student. I'm always learning every single day about my story. I understand that most people will look at you and will look at your Instagram when you promote yourself. I thank you very much. I realize every single day I'm talking about my story more. I'm doing something much more that's really simplified. I'm never complicational. I'm never a person who's complicated. I'm a person who understands the logic of life is to live in the moment. I realize that the logic is important when you're planning to take action. Once you have to take action in terms of invest action, I invest action so much. I do 3 hours of courses every single day in terms of videos. I realize that is 9 years over my life by doing it over 73 years and 3 hours every single day. I realize that is something big, and it's a personal development journey, and I get a thrill to be in front of a crowd. I realize that it's a nice, beautiful way to start life. I realize I'm always beginning life, I'm always beginning in this moment, I'm always doing something to increase my story capacity. I realize that when I let go and I talk about my story, I become natural. I become natural, I become a person who understands my story much better. I realize that the whole point of speaking your story every single day is speak your I more. I realize that your I is I never die. I love you. I have a dream. I thank you very much. I realize your I is going to help you speak your story. I now will say about my story. I now need you to understand. I now will say that your I will increase your skills. I now understand that you must always better your habits. I must increase my story with my I. Or else my eye must never die. Or else Jesus says, never cut your eye out. Or else that is why I talk about my story. Or else that is why Jesus is number one in my heart. Or else that is why I live today because of Jesus. Or else because I live in Jesus' name, I also follow Jesus. And when he says delay gratification, I do that. Or else that delay gratification means no masturbation. Or else that masturbation is a pleasure activity. I need you to delay gratification. I should understand that everything is spoken in the Bible. I should understand that you also read about everything. I read about everything. I read about you. I read about everything in terms of life. I go and read about statistics, except for I realize I just stay away from the worldly matters. I stay away from worldly matters. I never need that negativity. I make sure I go to where the positive information is. I stay away from politics. I stay away from the radio. I stay away from anything to do with the world. I don't care about the world. I care about inside. I care about how am I going to improve my inside world. I look at my inside, I look at Jesus, I learn from Jesus every day. I realize that my new news every single day is how can I be more like Jesus. I realize that is every single day of my life. I realize every single day I'm always asking much more of myself. I have to ask more, I have to be more, I have to always understand a better way of life. I have to know more. I have to know more. Although I know nothing, I have to learn more to know more. I realize I have to know more. I just never know anything. I never know anything because to know only is to just be where you are. I have to know more. And when I know more, I have to learn more. Otherwise I have to know thyself. So to know thyself, I have to know thyself more. I have to understand to go learn more, to understand more of my history. I have to understand that my history is now, although I have to learn much more about my life. Otherwise I have to give my story more. And every single time I give my story more, I know thyself more. Otherwise each and every single time I understand to expand my story in terms of my memory. I understand my focus is very important. I read focus books, I read marketing books, I read any type of books on the planet. I make sure I read audio books only. I read audio books only because audio books is the way I read. I read while I talk, I read while I walk, I read while I do anything. I read while I swim, I read audio books only. I can be in the swimming pool and I can read an audio book. I can be walking right now, I can have an audio book with entrepreneurship because that's how I become more successful. I realize that when I sleep, I can read also. I realize that no matter what, I just close my eyes when I read. I realize that I never fall asleep although. I realize that when I learn a new language, I make sure I use Google Translator. I use Google Translator to learn a new language, and that way I understand that any word that you have to pronounce is in easy English, and you can learn any language right there. Whereas at the dictionary, I use Google. I use Google as a dictionary. I use Samsung phones in terms of my capacity to film my videos and also inspire myself daily. I realize that I use Mega Drive online, which is a nice beautiful storage online. I realized that each and every single time I do that, I upload my content really quickly. I realized that really quickly I can upload 100 quotes into my online storage. You can find it inside my Instagram really quickly. I realized I have an online storage, which is my website. I thank you. I have to always make sure that my name can be heard in big letters. I have to big letters everything. I have to understand that when I have big letters, promotional techniques, I understand that people are going to see my name easier. I also have a nice beautiful portrait here, and I also make sure no matter what you can see it. I have a portrait over here. I mean, it's the same promotional technique in terms of my poster. I realize I put it right here. I realize that people can see my Instagram. I realize that no matter what, sometimes people give me the second look. I realize they're going this way and they have to turn around to see what's there. I realize I get two promotional techniques. I realize I get the second view too. I realize that each and every single time I look like an advertisement on YouTube. I realize that when I look like an advertisement on YouTube, I just stand here and I get some regular faces who just show up. I realize that it's like an advertisement going on. I realize I'm always advertising myself. I realize that is the whole point. I realize that when you have a sense of humor, I promise you only you are going to laugh. And that way you understand that when you laugh with yourself only and that's it. I realize you just understand that whatever's funny, you just keep it with yourself and you understand to also grow with it. And you understand to explain what's funny and just explain more about yourself. I realize I do everything in the journal. I write everything down. I'm never a person who's shy. I was a shy person before. I was a person who disconnects before. Whereas now I just make sure I never isolate myself. Although I understand when I isolate myself, I have the 1 hour rule, which states I must also do so. Whereas I can be isolated inside my accommodation for 23 hours of the day for my whole life. I can do it. I can do it all the time. I can always make sure no matter what that every single day I get a lot of weird looks. I get people saying, well, what are you doing here? I realize I get a lot of people who are negative without me promoting my name and my legacy. I realize that they're just people who have never done so. I realize that they're people who are jealous. I realize that when you have something against me, I realize it's because you're not doing that. I realize that no matter what, that if you're a person who understands I forgive every single day because I write about my story every single day, I'm a person who talks about my story. I actually get more confident talking about my story now because I realize how I can let go. I can always do it better. I can always do something much greater than I am. I realize I can always do something greater than I can always make sure I'm rich or better. And that way I understand that I can always promote myself and my Instagram. And I understand that most people never even have an Instagram. I realize I don't care, although you'll find me only here. I realize I'll go all in with Instagram. I realize that once Instagram is finished, I realize I'll never be finished. I'll just keep going elsewhere. I understand no matter what, that when I go elsewhere, I'll go inside. I make sure that every single time I explain my story much better. I'll do something much better on video. I can stand here forever talking about my story. I love my story. I love talking about myself. I love talking about everything in life. I love to talk about the skills. I love to talk about my eye. I can talk about my eye this way. I've learned a lot from this video alone. I realize how I can speak my story this way. I realize I can become more confident this way. I realize I can do it my story part 2. I can do it my story part 3. I can do it my story part 4. I realize I can always talk about my story. I realize that I'm busking right now. I realize this is busking. I realize I busk with modeling shoots right now. I realize I do the same kind of setup. I have a poster right here. I have a poster 2, which is in big format in terms of my portrait. And I realize that I have a nice beautiful ideal. I realize that ideal is worthy. I realize that ideal must be your legacy. I realize that you must be an ideal person today. I realize that every single time I'm a person who always understands I can be in front of the crowd, I can speak my I intent. I realize my I intent is my I have a dream. I love you. I realize that every single time I speak my I speak much more confidence. I realize I always have much more confidence when I talk about I realize every time I sing it, I realize I also pronunciate an I in your factor. I realize that you also gain the I. I understand that every single time I look at people, I understand how they are, I understand what I do, I understand where I came from, I understand to explain my story more, I understand to always talk about my I, and my I friction is to talk about my I more. I realize that nothing can go against the I. I realize that Jesus said, never cut your eye out. I love you. I never need you to cut your eye. I need you to understand to never cut yourself. I never need you to understand. I need you to understand more, although I understand that I never am a person who never learns. I learn much quicker than everybody else. I learn quickly, although I'm not a person who's competing with you. I learn quick. I do it quickly because how many other people are doing public speaking on the street today? I realize I'm the only one. I realize I know nothing though. I realize I hope somebody else is doing it with me because I need more leaders in the world anyway. I need more people to do public speaking on the street. I realize that I need more people to lift up their legacy. I realize that if there is another person doing it, I love that. Although I know nothing. I'm the only one doing it on the street right now. Whereas when I say that, I'm honest. Whereas that no matter what, I'm a person who understands that high integrity is the way to go. I have high integrity, I have my word. I keep my word every day. I always keep my word. I make sure my schedule is much better. I'm speaking my high intent all the time. I'm making sure that every single day I do something worthy. I do something that's going to improve my life. I understand how to speak my story more, or else I'll practice here and now, or else now is the time, or else the time is now to do everything. I understand. I used to watch wrestling. I used to watch the WWE. I used to watch WCW growing up, or else I watched WWE wrestling and WWF for 13 years. Or else that I was a big fanatic of wrestling. Or else it taught me little. I promise you, it taught me 1%. Or it taught me little. Or that I'm a person who understands. I never vibe with anything to do with swearing. I never swear. I never swear anymore. I never need to swear. I need to become a nicer person all the time. I have to understand that it's about attitude. When I say a swear word, I say I've never said that swear word. And I actually mention the swear word. Or that when I go back on my swearing, I may say motherfucker. I never say motherfucker. I go back on that like that. I take ownership. I say it like that, and that way I keep honest with myself. I understand to keep my hopes high. I have to keep my energy high. I have to understand that energy is much more better. I have to understand that it's really about control yourself every single day. Control yourself and never control other people. I never control other people. I never control what they do. I control myself. I have self-control. I realize that when public speaking, you have to also keep your arms like this. I realize that this is nice, beautiful way to say I'm not a danger. I realize that when you're moving too much like this, I realize you can do it too. I realize that also you can put your nice, beautiful hands beside this. I realize you can put your hands beside yourself and calm down. I realize that also I can realize I can speak this about my story. I can elaborate. I can understand. I can do this. I can show my hair. I can do something around my body. I can do some nice, interesting poses like this. Although I understand when I do this, I can just drop my nice, beautiful arms. But I realize I can drop my nice, beautiful arms beside myself. I realize I can speak my high intent all the time. I realize that every single time I have my I always never die. I understand that every single time I speak my I'm a person who grows. I understand to reach 100 years of age, you have to speak your I. Every single time you speak your I, you'll have more energy. You'll do more. You'll be more. You'll have more. That's the whole point of growth, is speak your I. I love you. I need you to speak your I. I is a story. I realize I is a story. I realize that I is everything. I realize those people who have I also never die. I understand that every single time I increase my I capacity, I speak much more better. I speak faster. I speak and make my words quicker. Thank you. I also better my communication skills this way. I understand it's the best communication technique in the world. You never have to start the you in action. You can start the I in action. I, everything. I love you. I understand that every single time I look at people, I learn about them. I learn about who they are. I pick up database quickly. I understand that every single time I can stand here quickly, I can understand I'm doing much better today. I'm doing something that's worth it. I'm doing something that's going to help me move forward. I understand I never have to mumble. I understand how to catch myself mumbling. I understand that sometimes when I mumble, I never mumble. Or else you never say that you mumble. And you understand that you go and pronunciate better and also use your dictionary. Or else your dictionary is how you speak. Or else it's how you talk. Or else it's how you look. Or else whatever you're doing, you can show your arm movements too. Or else that you can show your arm movements, and it's like you're doing something interesting because you are interesting. Or else that you have to always move as well as you talk. You can talk, you can walk. Or else you can do anything. I understand that each and every single time I do that, I understand I speak about my I intent. I focus on my I more than anything. Or else every single time I do that, I learn to grow. I learn to yearn to grow. I have to do that all the time. I have to always think growth in the moment. I have to be in the moment all the time. I have to be more spiritual. I have to do better. I have to be a smart ass. I have to be. Or else no matter what, I'm always a person who goes around to smart ass people. I have to go there. Or else I get very geeky. I get very much like a nerd. I have to always communicate that way. I understand that is the way. I promise you that is the best way. I promise you the best way is now. I promise you the best way is speak your I more and regularly. I understand each and every time I use my I promise you I always have something to say. I always attract something to say. I always have something to connect with. I have something to connect with, and that's my I. I promise you my eye never dies. I promise you eye is very powerful and it's also the best letter in the world. I promise you the eye is number one. I promise you the eye is everything. I promise you eye is also Jesus. I promise you Jesus uses number I in Y, I, and number one in Jesus' name. I realize that is why I connect everything that way. I realize that way is the best way. I realize when you are a person who never mentions Jesus, I promise you it's because you're egotistical. I should understand that I am a person who always mentions Jesus Christ. I'm always a person who understands to have my beautiful arm posture right beside me and never in my pocket. I never need you to have a public speaking event where you put your arm in your pocket because it doesn't look good. And you should understand having your arm beside you when you're speaking, public speaking, and you're doing something every single day that's going to help you move forward. I always do that. I always do something that's going to help me move forward. And this is one way. I realize that every single time I do that, I'm speaking about my skills and ideas. I'm always giving something for nothing. I'm doing something for nothing. I'm doing something to help myself grow every single day. I have to communicate every single day. Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you very much. I realize every single time I'm always using my eye. I'm always using my eye. I'm making sure no matter what, I'm always going to improve. I improve every single day. I thank you. I very much love myself in my eye. I realize every single time I make sure to finish up. I realize that I learned something really brilliantly in this video, and that's my eye. I realize that I can also speak in front of my people, which is my eye intent. I can always make sure that we are all from something bigger. I realize we're all divine beings today. I realize we're going to do something greater today. Thank you. I realize we always have to do something greater. We have to inspire. We have to understand something greater. I realize that I is also we, and I is more powerful than we. I realize we need more I in our life, and we need to never die. I realize that I'll just check how long this video is, although I realize I've been speaking about my story for 1 hour and 21 minutes. I realize although I usually do it for 1 hour, I realize I never turn my back on the audience. I realize I always make sure to look at the audience and give attention. I realize it's about attention. I realize it's about giving a story every single day. And I realize it's about spice. You have to have some spice in your life. You have to understand that each and every single time I'm always giving my eye. I'm always giving my eye intent, and that way I understand to grow. I understand to grow and learn as I grow along. When I grow along, I understand I'm always functional in a better way. And practice. I mean, practice some communication today. I mean, practice what your skills are in front of people. I mean, that's just what I need from you today. I need you just to do that every single day. I also will say, no matter what, that you guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in my next episode. I love you guys.